Today on Dr. Phil, viewers called him infuriating.
You have the audacity to write me this email? I'm offended by this.
Grow a spine.
They got Daddy wrapped around their little finger. True?
Very true.
Clueless.
I don't believe you got any more idea than a goose what to do.
Dr. Phil's most frustrating parents
The girls are doing good at home.
are back.
Did she scream at you and attack you?
She did. When I
That's what you call the girls are doing pretty good. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about. We ready in the booth? Let's do it. Go, Dr. Phil. Well, we have received hundreds and hundreds of message board postings, emails, and letters about my next guest. Now, here are just a few responses. I was so angry, I was throwing things at my television. This was the most infuriating show I have ever watched. This might be the first time I have actually yelled at my TV screen. Those aren't all from the same person. It was painful to watch. These parents are absolutely clueless. They need to go into a backbone program and grow a spine. Well, the guest, just referred to as clueless and spineless, are back. I'm talking about Kimberly and David, who are struggling to raise rebellious teen daughters. Here's a look at what's happened so far.
Our kids are out of control. Elena is my 14-year-old. Elena is under house arrest.
My mom called the cops on me twice. I wound up in juvenile detention center. I don't really care about getting caught.
Do you do drugs?
Not that much.
You found her so drunk, she could barely stand.
It was horrible. She scared me so much. Alexis is my 16-year-old. Her trouble comes from traffic violations. My husband, David, will take her car keys away, but Alexis always gets them back within a day or two.
Did you demand a car in exchange for coming on the show?
They just said they're not getting me one unless I come on.
Did you fake a pregnancy?
No.
Did you test positive?
Yes.
It just went away? Neither one of you are drinking age. Both of you drink. Neither one of you have prescriptions to be taking a medication.
They know how to work with me. I'm a victim of being manipulated by a bunch of little girls.
I don't care how much you want to feel light. Your job is for them to not wake up dead. You have a crisis situation on your hands. This is something that calls for immediate and dramatic intervention.
When we got back from the show, it was a lot worse than before. The girls are at a point of no return.
This isn't going to get any better if we don't do something radical.
Did you buy her a car?
I
You did. You bought that disrespectful, rebellious child a car. That is insanity of the highest order.
When Elena first arrived here, she was very resistant.
I was furious. Like, I hate everyone.
And she really turned and made some major progress.
In order to be successful with my parents when I go home, I need to help them to be more strict with us and have consequences for our actions.
You come to visit, and in your infinite wisdom, you broke this rule. You left Alexis alone. You dyed her hair. You gave her makeup. You let them use the cell phone. Let them use the computer and Facebook. You let her contact her ex-boyfriend that she was drinking and running with. We got like 250 people in the audience here. Why are they moaning? No, I mean, I didn't cue them. I didn't like flash the moan button. Why are...
I just felt horrible because Julie
Here's a news flash. This ain't about you. When you were making the rules and decisions, these girls were absolute train wreck disasters. See, when we turned them over to professionals, they had them moving in the right direction. Should I go on? We're coming up to deal with the question, are these girls ready to come home? And the real question is going to be, is home ready for them? I think you two don't have a clue. Clearly, I have been exasperated with the decisions and the directions these parents are taking. and it's not getting any better in my view. The last time they were on the show, Elena was doing well at Turnabout Ranch, but Alexis was not making as much progress. Against all my recommendations, David let the girls come home from the ranch, even though Kimberly wanted them to go straight to the boarding school. Now, these parents are at complete odds. Before I talk to Mom Kimberly, here's how Alexis told us she's doing.
The ranch really changed the girls. They made complete U-turns.
Well, at first I didn't want to go to Turnabout Ranch. I hated it. Having no privileges and having to earn everything you get, having to be in a totally different place where I've never been before and not knowing anybody. It got a lot better after a while. I feel like it was good to get away from some things at home that were going on, like the things I was doing wrong, and see what I need to work on. I used to judge people a lot. My relationship with my parents is a lot better, and I know myself a lot better. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, and I haven't drank at all. I'm learning that I'm very codependent on my mom and rely on her for a lot of things, but I learned that I can be more mature and do things on my own. I had to grow up a lot. I am really proud of myself for a lot of the stuff I've accomplished and overcame.
That sweet facade turned very ugly shortly after our cameras shut down. Take a look.
Went to the gym. I left my phone here, and Alexis must know my password to my phone. And she was reading my messages to David and saw that something about her going to boarding school. She just got very upset. She was just so mad. She was like, I can't stay with you. I'm gonna end up hurting you. I'm gonna kill you. She was going crazy on me and kicking me and hitting me and throwing things at me. And she hasn't gotten this bad in a while. I just feel hopeless now. I mean, I tried, but you can only do so much.
Well, I have Kimberly out here on her own because I want to get her take on recent events before I bring David out. You guys flew in to do the show. You brought her with you, Alexis with you, because you wanted my help in taking a second attempt to get her to go to boarding school. We already talked about it. Everybody agreed to do it.
Yep.
And we had the plan. It was all set up. Why didn't she go?
Well, when we were at the camp, the counselor had pulled David aside after our session and said, the girls really need you, David. They really need you. And I think David took that like, I just need to take them home. So at that moment, he just decided I'm taking them home.
Well, I've talked to that counselor, actually. We have a letter from him, and we're going to talk about that because that ain't what he said.
Okay.
That's not what he told David, and he was very clear about that, and he's very clear about it today. They didn't go directly to boarding school, they went home. My position was that if that was what happened, that it would be a complete train wreck.
I was very upset at the ranch because I really wanted them to go. So I was just crying and begging David to please take the advice of the counselors, but he had his mind made up. You know, the girls are doing good at home, but David and I just, we have different parenting styles, and it's just...
What do you mean they're doing good at home?
Well, I mean,
Elena said there was so much tension and pressure. She wanted to go to boarding school, asked to be put there, and is gone. Alexis has separated you from David. She's played the two of you off against each other. You tell her one thing, 8 o'clock curfew, be here, do what you're supposed to do. She goes behind your back, gets a hold of David. David extends it to 12 o'clock, doesn't even tell you. Then she stays out all night. And then when she was here for the show on Saturday, didn't she physically attack you?
She did.
In the lobby of the hotel, did she yell at you, scream at you, and physically attack you?
She did. When I, let me...
And that's what you call the girls are doing pretty good.
What I mean by the girls are doing good is that they're not drinking or doing drugs. That's what I meant. The other part, no, it's not good. The manipulation is still there on Alexis's part, big time. Big time.
Now, Alexis threatened not to do the show unless we flew her boyfriend out here. Do y'all go like to diva school or something?
No, I told her absolutely not. He's not part of this.
And then she threatened to never speak to you again if you did come on the show.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand, I'm her worst nightmare, right?
Yeah, you are.
Because I don't buy any of her crap at all. I don't believe anything that she says. I don't buy into the manipulations. And I'm telling her parents that she is out of control and that you need to get her under control before it's too late. So she needs to get rid of me. Very disrespectfully, she got your cell phone got your password, got into your cell phone, and read your text messages between you and your husband, where you were talking about, look, we really need to get behind this boarding school plan. Dr. Phil was right. She shouldn't have come home. She saw that. She freaked. Okay, here's this guy again. Old Baldy messing up my game. So she pitches a fit, attacks you, yells, screams, so you finally said, fine, go home.
It's hard to sit there and take somebody verbally abusing you and you're stuck in a hotel room and kicking your suitcases and hitting you and telling you they hate you. And
I wish I'd have been a fly on the wall, because I tell you what, the minute she put her hands on you, I'd have called the cops, I'd have had her locked up and put in jail and let her throw her tantrum in jail. That's what I'd have done. You do not allow somebody to violate your body. That is not okay. People don't hit you, they don't kick you, particularly your child. Now, I don't want to put any child in jail, but if they want to ramp it up and just, see how high the ante will go, then, I'll call that bluff. I'm curious to know what you guys at home think about certain things. I want you to go to drphil.com right now and answer this question: is the current generation less respectful of parental authority than your generation was? What do you guys say in the audience? Yeah. Well, next, I'm going to ask David to come out and hear his side of the story. I do not believe that you reward bad behavior. I don't think parents should reward bad behavior. I don't think I should reward bad behavior. And I got to tell you, I'm about ready to stop rewarding bad behavior myself. We'll be right back.
When we brought him home, Kimberly's approach was to not let them go anywhere. They don't really have very many privileges, if any. Because you're afraid they're going to do something wrong, you don't go overboard in trying to set up rules so they just don't have any life at all.
I don't know why David still gets manipulated. He just wants to make everybody happy. I just don't know if he has it in him to be the strict disciplinarian. I think that they have a better chance away from him because he enables them too much. I have given him an ultimatum because I'm like, our kids need help and I feel like you're getting in the way of it and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. This is it. This is my last chance to get them help and they're getting it, whether you like it or not.
Well, that was Kimberly, who says she will get help for her daughters with or without her husband David's help. But first, here's what David had to say about his last-minute decision to bring the girls home from Turnabout Ranch instead of sending them straight to the boarding school.
They said at the ranch, if you have a good program at home, then the girls should go there. I was outside with the girls. I went in there to see what was going on. Kimberly's crying, and she said, oh, they said they need to go away at a boarding school. We'd already told them they were going home. I would like to have them at home anyway, so I bought into that. We made that decision. We're going to stick with it. They're going to be gone soon, and I don't want to miss these next couple of years where they aren't around to do things with me. When we brought them home, Kimberly's approach was to not let them go anywhere. They don't really have very many privileges, if any. I'm a little more liberal than where Kimberly is about whether they could have a friend over or go out and do anything. I think she makes it more oppressive than it has to be. Kimberly would like to have 50 rules instead of 4. Because you're afraid they're going to do something wrong, you don't go overboard in trying to set up rules so they just don't have any life at all.
Okay, well, David's joining us now, and you two have clearly been at odds about what to do, right?
Yeah. Everybody says, get on the same page. All I said was, let's figure out what the page is.
And you and I have certainly been at odds. When we first got involved, Elena was under house arrest. She had received 8 tickets, including hiding from the cops, unruly behavior, minor under the influence, marijuana, violating probation. She was sneaking out of the house. She was staying out past curfew, getting drunk to the point she could barely even walk or stand. She spent 2 weeks at the youth detention center. She had to do 40 hours of community service, had to take drug and alcohol classes. Alexis, who was 16 or 17 at the time, sneaking out, staying out all night, getting drunk, threw a party, trashed the house, yelling and hitting you, as she's doing now, threw a milkshake at you, slamming doors and walls, abusing Xanax, giving some to Elena, 6 traffic tickets, and crashed a car. Now, that's why we met to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. And I say, and I quote, you have to have a completely different approach to what's going on here. It's what I call commando parenting. You do whatever you have to do to say, I am taking control of this family, and we are not going to have this behavior. I recommended that these girls needed to get out of that home situation, that they needed to go to Turnabout Ranch. That was ultimately the recommendation that I made to you because things didn't get better at home. Was that a right decision?
I think so.
Do you think it was the right decision?
Certainly.
It was a tough decision because we didn't really know anything about the ranch.
Oh my gosh, it's a tough decision. Even, no matter how much you know about it, it's a tough decision to part from your children. As a father, I totally get how tough that is.
Well, dropping off girls, especially with people that you don't know,
Yeah.
anybody or anything.
Yeah.
If your name weren't associated with it, they wouldn't have gotten that far. It would have been tough.
Yeah. But then, shortly after that, you send an email where you accuse the show of wanting to send the girls to boarding school because of some arrangement we have with the Aspen Education Group rather than putting the girls' best interest at heart. Would that be accurate? You accuse the show of wanting to send the girls to boarding school rather than putting the girls' best interest at heart. Would that be accurate?
That's close.
Well, here's what you said. I'm really disappointed that your show is only interested in supporting Aspen programs and not other highly qualified programs that could benefit my daughters. Obviously, what's beneficial for my daughters is secondary to what is good for the show and for Aspen. I understand that first and foremost, you have a business to run. Are you serious? Are you serious when you write this? This is offensive to me. I just have to tell you, when I read this, my initial reaction was, I'm done. I'm done with these people. Let me tell you how this works, okay? So maybe you understand, even if it's our parting shot here. You write in with these girls totally out of control. It's obvious to me that the home situation is chaotic. The dynamics are out of control. Kim, so you understand why this is offensive to my sensibilities. I take very seriously the people who come. We have millions of people that watch this show. We select the stories that we select because we think they're representative of what's going on in a lot of homes with an entitled generation. And in a sense, you guys become teaching tools. Now, what you get out of that is you get up close and personal attention. You get amazing resources brought to bear. Amazing resources brought to bear. And then you have the audacity to write me this email. Let me tell you, I'm offended by this. Look, we have an advisory board. It's like 20 people, the top minds in psychology, sociology, medicine. When we get a story, it goes out to our advisory board, and we ask them for input. One of the top therapeutic residential programs on the globe is the Aspen Group. So we reach out to them and say, hey, guys, will you help us here? We work with dozens of people all over the country. But the collective wisdom is that that's who we're going to contact here. I am really disappointed that your show is only interested in supporting Aspen and not other highly qualified programs. Obviously, what's beneficial for my daughters is secondary to what is good for the show. Is that how you feel?
No.
You say, if we have a plan at home, then the best place for the girls is with their parents, correct?
Yes.
And my advice to you was that you did not have a good plan in place at home, correct? Was I clear about that? Mm-hmm. What you did is you accepted the resources that we offered and rejected the advice. Now, I have a letter here from your therapist at Aspen, and he's very clear. He doesn't say anything about that you should take these girls home. At this juncture, returning home is not a viable option. Both Kimberly and David struggled to follow advice and recommendations of the therapist throughout their daughter's course of treatment here at the ranch. So that's my opinion. That's the opinion of the advisory board here. That's his opinion. You decided to do something different. And then you send me a 5-part email, and you say, in part, we have received advice from other expert child psychiatrists and psychologists that we should not send the girls directly to a therapeutic boarding school, and that a well-conceived and implemented home plan for our family would be equally or more effective because of the family love element not present at boarding school or ranches. Basically, you said that we should be willing to pay for that. I mean, I assume you think, well, this is, do I look like an ATM?
No.
This isn't a game show where you come in and you win something. One thing I knew for sure is that these girls were not ready to be home because home wasn't ready for these girls. I told you that. I was clear about it. And then you say, well, I've actually talked to some other experts. Then you need to do what they want you to do. Best of luck to you. But I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to support it any more than you said, well, you know what? I think therapeutic marijuana would chill these girls out. I wouldn't support that either because I don't believe in that. I believe this home situation is currently toxic. I believe it's not in the best interest of these girls, and so I do not support that. Your 14-year-old was under house arrest. That is a toxic situation, so I said you need to do something different. So you went and talked to some other people, and they said, well, no, you know, David, we think that they need the love of being at home. How many notebooks did they have? How many people had they advised? How much homework had they done before they told you what you wanted to hear? And instead, I get these emails from you saying, I don't believe you have my daughter's best interest at heart, so why are you here today?
We didn't have anybody. We didn't have anybody come there and say, okay, here's what we're going to work on when they get home. When they come home from this camp, here are the things that might happen. Here's what you guys need to be prepared for.
What are you going to do for yourself? These aren't my daughters. What do you drop them off at the sacrificial altar of therapy? Fix these girls for me?
No,
what are you putting into this? I feel like I'm working harder on this than you are.
I have mixed emotions about bringing Elena here. My wife drove most of the decision to come to Swift River.
I would be a lot happier about her coming here if I had the support of my husband. Alexis has had a boyfriend for like 7 months. My biggest fear is I don't want her to rely on some guy to make her happy. And I fear that's where she's headed. Just don't want her to be like me. I met David when I was 20. I wished I could have done things a little bit differently. And I just don't want her to make the same mistakes I made.
What we said is we think they need to go to these boarding schools. And trust me, one of Elena's attitudes is, why am I being punished? I'm getting sent away and I'm doing better than anybody in the family. She has a really good point. She has a really good point. She's being sent away, and she actually asked to go.
I want Elena to have the opportunity to come to the school because I think she could get a great education and just improve and build upon all the skills she's learned at the ranch. I would be a lot happier about her coming here if I had the support of my husband.
My wife drove most of the decision to come to Swift River.
I came home from school and I was really upset, and I was talking to my mom about coming here, and I guess she just jumped on the decision and made it herself without talking to me or my dad about it.
Hi, Elena. Welcome to Swift River. We're so glad you're here.
Kimberly can make decisions much faster than I do, and sometimes they're not quite as well thought out. I have mixed emotions about bringing Elena here. I'm going to miss her at home because she and I hang out and do a lot of things together.
My mom chose to make the decision, and my dad didn't have a word in it at all. I don't think I'm going to be at this school for too long because I've heard a lot about my dad fixing things at home. So once they fix stuff, I'm pretty sure I'll just be heading back.
She actually asked to go, right? I mean, that's what she tells us. She says, look, this stress here, the tension here, the chaos here, please send me. I'll go. She hopes that you're going to get your act together and she can come home soon.
You know, we put her in a private Christian school, and she's at school one day, and some girl with a big mouth is giving her flack about being on the Dr. Phil show and being a monster and all that stuff. She's lucky she didn't get up and knock the crap out of her, but she learned some things at the ranch.
House arrest, 8 tickets, sneaking out, drunk to the point that she can't even stand up. You reckon that's got anything to do with it?
It does.
I didn't create that.
I know you didn't.
I didn't create that. Look, if your effort here is to guilt-induce me, you ain't got enough time to do that, because let me tell you something. You do what I do and you tell people unpopular things, you got to know who you are and believe in what you're doing.
I agree.
And make no mistake, I know that we have the best interests of those girls at heart. I know that we are consulting the top professionals in the country. And I know that we are moving things in the right direction, that you didn't get moving in the right direction, and then you're second guessing it. We say we need some of these boarding schools. No, I want them in the same school. Well, actually, they don't need to be in the same school. There are therapeutic, clinical reasons those girls do not need to be in the same school. They need to stand on their own, think for themselves, make their own decisions, get their own identity, and not be influencing one another. But you and your wisdom say, no, I want them in the same school.
I say, could they be?
And in your 5-part letter, when they were getting ready to graduate from the ranch, Kimberly and I will need to attend the graduation for Alexis and Elena next week. We would need for you to make travel arrangements for us immediately. Did I read that right?
What's the date on this? You know why I said that? I can tell you why I said that, because there was a lot of question about, I bet this was right before they graduated, because there was a lot of question about when they were going to graduate. Not to try to put pressure on you guys, it's just, I mean, we don't.
Right. Right, yeah, okay. The second part was, we've received advice from expert child psychiatrists. We need a program here at home, not what you're suggesting. We would like for you to fund that. I would need, quote, I would need the Dr. Phil Show financial support for either of the programs that I'm suggesting, and we would need you to make travel arrangements for us immediately to attend graduation. So I guess I am an ATM. Next, we're going to find out why Kimberly says she feels like she's fighting this battle alone. Bhabie.
It hurts me that we're not on the same page. I mean, it kills me because I feel like we need to be a team. It feels like it's the girls and David against me. It's very frustrating for me. David's the type that'll just bury his head in the sand. I just feel like he puts the girl in front of me. And it hurts. He always says, oh, it'll get better. I promise it'll get better. And so I wait and wait and wait. And nothing ever changes. I feel trapped. I just wanted to cry. Why doesn't he see it? It'll just keep getting worse and worse and progressing to where it was before. And I can't let that happen.
Well, Kimberly says David is still too lenient with the girls, which leaves her on her own when it comes to enforcing the rules. Take a look.
It feels like it's the girls and David against me. They're all happy together, doing whatever they want, and here I am trying to do the right thing and getting opposition from all three of them. Before Alexis turns into an adult, I want her to learn that her actions produce consequences. She still plays us all the time since we've been home. It was very frustrating for me. Like I told Alexis, she had to be home by 8 o'clock. I said this time, and I'm sticking with it. She was texting her father, and he said she can stay out till 12. But he didn't tell me about it. It hurts me that we're not on the same page. I mean, it kills me because I feel like we need to be a team.
You're fighting for your girls' lives here.
I know.
I mean, I truly believe that. You know what I feel like? I feel like I'm having to chase you down the road to help you, and my running shoes are coming off. What do y'all want? Tell me what you'd like to see happen here.
I want the best for both of my girls, and I trust your judgment. I trust all the counselors and the panel and the board that you have that you've put on this. They're experts, and I trust their opinion. So if that's what they think needs to happen, that's what I want to happen. I want both the girls to be where y'all recommended. I also would like David and I to get some help because we just have two different parenting styles.
What would you like to see happen here?
The only thing I've ever asked in all this is there a way to do it closer to home and not, when the great things happen while at the ranch, I would not argue that point at all. And certainly we appreciate all the advice and the assistance that you've thrown out there. I've always just said, is there a way to do it closer to home? And it gets twisted around a lot of times. I wish there were.
No, not that I know of.
Don't underestimate how much we appreciate what you've done, all the good advice.
I do underestimate it. I do. Seriously, I do. I think the attitude here is, what are you going to do for me today? I owe you nothing.
I know you do.
I don't owe you anything. I mean, you wrote me, and I gave you my advice. And personally, you seem like a really nice guy, but I don't believe you got any more idea than a goose what to do right now in this situation. I think you're too close to it, David. I think you're too close to it. And what you're saying is, I feel good when my daughters are around me because I love them. You and I are getting a little long in the tooth here, and so we kind of hang on to those moments. You know, we hang on to those days. I get that. I really do. But the point is, we never stop being parents. And as parents, we're fiduciaries, which means we have to put our children's interest above our own. We have to do what is best for them to have the best chance to get traction in life and to grow up and be productive members of society and happy and healthy and peaceful and fulfilled. We don't do what makes us feel good in the moment. The fact that you want to hang with your girls and you want to lean on your own understanding. Your daughter, Alexis, attacked your wife physically, mentally, emotionally, and browbeat her in L.A. until she was flown home. What did you do when she got back?
Actually, she was thrown out of the house when she got back.
Where'd she go?
One of her friends, a girl who goes to church, they picked her up at the airport. Because I told her I wasn't picking her up. I was ticked when they called me.
So she came home, went over to a friend's house. Well, it sounds like you've got a program at home that's working well. Seriously, come on, David. Common sense just ain't common enough anymore. We're a couple old Southern boys here. Let's just get some common sense going here. You're out of control. You're out of control. These girls got a bluff in on you. They know that you are crazy in love with them. They know that they got daddy wrapped around their little finger. They control you. True?
True, very true.
And therefore, you're giving them inconsistent parenting, you're giving them inconsistent discipline, and they are making decisions they're not equipped to make. Their brains are not through growing yet. At this point, they cannot predict the consequences of their actions. And then so you call up here and say, well, I've talked to some other professionals, and they've decided that it would be best not to send these girls to school. And you know what I say to that? That's okay. I'm glad you're in contact with them, and you and them go forth and do what you feel like you need to do. But don't ask me to support it, because I don't.
I was just saying, hey, is that an option in this
And
whole
I'm just
thing?
saying
Yes.
it is an option. Anything's an option.
I understand.
And if that's what you think you should do, that's what you should do. When we come back, I want to share with you a near-death experience that may be affecting this family's decision.
A young man decided he was going to take my truck while I was in it. He shot me through the shoulder, all the way through my chest, and stopped just over my heart. Probably should have died that day.
Well, there's more to this story than a couple of teens in big trouble. Kimberly and David have also been dealing with what could have been a life-ending situation. Take a look at what happened here.
I was downtown. A young man decided he was going to take my truck while I was in it and opened the passenger door, aimed a .40 caliber pistol at me, and I decided that the thing to do was to try to leave. He shot me through the shoulder. It went all the way through my chest and stopped just over my heart. Actually, the bullet is still in there. Probably should have died that day. That's been impactful for me, for my wife, for my kids. Alexis struggles to deal with those kind of things.
After my dad got shot, I look at things differently, that someday he won't be here.
I really think that's part of why he doesn't want the girls away, because he almost died.
I'm sure that brings the finiteness of our life home.
Absolutely.
And I hate to tell you that you got to put that aside, but I recognize that you're not going to do that you're going to do this other thing. And Patty's here from the Aspen Education Group. She's one of many groups that we work with. She works with Turnabout Ranch. She was involved the day David decided to take the girls home. You guys did not support that decision, did you?
No, we did not.
If this is all a business arrangement, it would have been a lot cheaper for you to say, well, okay, we've got a great therapeutic success here at Turnabout Ranch. They came in trouble. They're going home with clear eyes and good momentum. So good luck to you and out the door. That would have been the most economical thing for you to do, correct?
Yes, it would have.
As opposed to saying, well, you know what? Now, even though we haven't been asked to, we're going to extend an invitation for them to go to these boarding schools. And that's why it's offensive to me for you to make the statement that you made in that email. That is unfair to these people.
David, you haven't made your decision yet, have you?
What?
You're not deciding against boarding school, are you?
No. Sometimes you say stuff in the heat of the battle. I'm working really hard at home trying to put something together. And I understand a lot better. But
well, no, let me make it even clearer. The reason I said if it isn't Aspen related, we're not going to support it at this point, because that is the course we're on. If you want to do something else, do something else. But it isn't because it's Aspen, it's because it's the follow-on to what has been done. Because Elena is doing well at this point, I won't say I'm sorry that we did it, but I'm going to tell you what, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are going to be writing me letters after this show and tell you what, they're going to be saying, you know what, he don't appreciate it, but we would. Please help us. But I gave him an opportunity to apologize to you. He chose not to do it. So let me just tell you, I'm sorry that it came out that way, and thank you for what you've done
Thank you, Dr.
for
Phil.
these girls.
Dave, thank
no,
you.
What do you want to say?
The whole reason I came back on this show is so the girls can go to boarding school. And that's what I want. And so he needs to agree with me. And you have to have both of our consent. And it's not fair that he doesn't agree.
I do agree. You know, my brain wanting them to come home was overriding what is a good decision.
Does this even register with you that your wife is just dying over here for her daughters?
Yes.
I mean, are you so selfish to think you just want to do what you want to do? She's sitting here dying in front of you, and you don't even acknowledge her?
I do. You know, in my mind, I said, could we get them in one place? If they can't be, they can't be. But I think after this latest outbreak, it's obvious that there needs to be some further therapeutic stuff there.
You think?
Yeah.
I think we've done you really right.
I appreciate all your help, but my kids still need help. And you've got to agree, David. You have to.
I'm tired of bending over backwards and bringing world-class resources and then getting snippy and accusatory emails.
No, he just has to agree. I mean, I can't go back home to that. I can't.
Patty, what do you want to say?
We deeply care about you, David. We want to help Alexis. I think that Alexis needs help.
What do you want to do?
I want Alexis to go to the boarding school.
What would you like for me to do?
Kick him in the butt.
He's a gunshot victim. I mean, you can't attack a guy that's been shot. It's not going to do any good to send these girls to a boarding school to try to get them some clarity in their lives if they come home and the two of you are still going through the same damn thing you're going through right now.
Agreed. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert by far. That's obvious. But David and I, we need help.
Well, you understand how I'm a little reluctant to bend over backwards here?
Yeah, I totally
Because
understand.
everything I've done has just kind of been, you know, like, yeah, fine, thanks. So, yeah, I'm a little reluctant.
No, I'm very grateful for what you've done for my girls. And you know what? When you put them in turnabout, it took David a while because he's slower at getting there. But he realized that that was the best thing once they were there. It took a while, but he realized that. And I think he'll do the same thing this time.
We'll be right back. I've made this too easy for y'all. And, you know, I kind of think that, you know, common sense, you need to look back. There's what you call a stage of readiness. People are ready to be helped. There just comes a point where you know somebody's ready when they can look at you and tell you that they won't put up with this for one more second of one more minute. And you're not there. I believe in these folks right here. I believe they have traction. If you want to get Alexis there and Aspen is still willing after all of this and what I consider to be disrespect from you about their motives, then, you know, I will make that available to you. Now, this gentleman that's sitting next to her here is Miles Adcock. He's the CEO of an organization called Onsite. They are providers of intensive therapeutic workshops that deal with parenting. You go there, you move in, and you stay there all week long and you work. True, Miles?
Very true.
Somewhat against my better judgment, I'm going to offer that to y'all. But I'm going to tell you what. You better show up on time with your toothbrush, prepared to do this. And if they don't, you turn them away. If they don't show up with T's crossed and I's dotted, do not, repeat, do not unlock the front door.
Sure.
Will you promise me that?
You got it.
Deal? Will you promise me that? You either grab a hold here and you move forward, or understand, I'm done. Thanks to Patty and everyone at the Aspen Group, and thanks to Miles Adcock from Onsite. And I'm going to put some information on our website, Miles, about your program, because it is a top-notch program. If you want to send me your comments, which I know you do, or you want to email me at drphil.com, or you can go to my blog, or you can go to Facebook, or you can go to Twitter, you know where to find me. Thanks for being here. So long.
Memories can kill ya, but it didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive, call it